The handwriting recognition software I was very impressed with. I'm not particularly used to handwriting software recognition. This is the first tablet I've ever had. I've wanted one, but didn't want to spend the money on it. Whenever you go into a text field and you click, you get this little icon. Click on the icon, it brings up this box down here. It's got built-in dictionary. Well, see, it didn't like my hello. It says that's t divided by c equals 220. But the there, it got as there. So that was good. The documentation for everything is pretty much non-existent. The only two gestures I've been able to figure out for this, if you want to erase something, you just squiggle it out. And now all of a sudden it knows that that's hello. It does have a built-in dictionary. Once you get where you want it, hit the enter key, it puts the text up there. To put in a carriage return, just do that. You can define your own words, and you can also train this to recognize your handwriting. Now, I haven't even done any training yet, and my handwriting's pretty bad. Certainly a lot better than a doctor's, but it's still pretty bad, and it has no problem. You've either got the free flow down here, or you can specify boxes where you write each letter in a box. But then once you get to the end, then you have to hit the arrow key to get more boxes. I'm not entirely sure what the point of this is. And you've also got a keyboard. Unlike the handwriting recognition, when you tap a key on the keyboard, it immediately goes into whatever program you're trying to type into. It'll fade out once you stop tapping on it. If you want to bring it back, just bring it right back. After a while, it will go completely away, or you can hit the X to make it go away. But again, as soon as you put a text cursor inside a text box, it brings up that icon, click on that, and it's back. So that's a program that's always running, always taking up resources. If you install Firefox, install, I believe it's called Click and Drag. That allows you to basically use the stylus and move the web page around wherever you want it to be. Let's see. So doing it this way, when you're on a web page, you can just click, move around. You don't need to worry about the scroll bars. Makes it a lot easier. See, now we're running into a problem. I'm trying to click up here with the stylus, and it's putting the cursor all the way down there. Now the cursor got down there somehow. Alrighty then. If you just hold down, that's the same thing as doing a right click. Normally. Right. See, that time that worked. Alright. The software it comes with webcam software. The Intel Education Admin, that allows you to create a bootable USB drive that you can then boot off of and back up your entire computer onto a set of USB drives. That, of course, is so when the kids destroy it, then you can just restore it relatively easily. Vision Objects Pin Input, that's what we were just in, converting the text, converting writing. Art Rage I haven't really played with because I'm not an artist, but you can draw. when you use a touchscreen, you're going to want to use the stylus. If you use your finger, you're not going to get much of anywhere. If you use your fingernail, that'll register. It's got to be something, it's got to be a sharp point for it to register, which is good because that means that when your hand is resting on it, your hand isn't interfering with the stylus. Let's see, how do I get out of that? The microphone input on this, for some reason, if I take the same headset, plug it into my Toshiba laptop, people can hear me fine on Skype, and I can hear myself fine. But in here, for some reason, the microphone input is really low, and it's not a setting. I've got all the settings set up as high as they'll go. But the microphone input on here just is not very good for some reason. It reduces the level way, way down. Now let's go into the control panel. And we can take a look at the hardware list. Alright, so the Bluetooth device, it's using the Broadcom 2046 Bluetooth 2.01 USB dongle. And of course, graphics and all the hardware, it's all just the Intel mobile stuff. Under System Devices, you've got your accelerometer listed, and it'll always say it's working, even though it doesn't work. Might try to update the driver on that someday. Yeah, it reminds me of something else odd that I wanted. And if it sounds like I'm just complaining about everything, that's because, as a whole, this is fantastic. I love this computer. If you're a person that does a fair amount of traveling and you have to have a computer with you, but you don't always use a computer, you don't use a computer much, you need to get on the waiting list for one of these. This is fantastic. It's only these small little software issues that just keep this from being a runaway phenomenal deal of a lifetime. When you're setting up your power manager, you can have it disable the LAN and the Wi-Fi to help save battery power. But you can't have it disable, say, Bluetooth. So Bluetooth is constantly using up your battery unless you manually disable it. But then the LAN card, which pretty much turns off when you don't plug anything in, you can disable. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. There's no option to turn off the accelerometer, but the accelerometer doesn't work. Nope. Yeah, I thought maybe if I tricked it, I might be able to trick it into working. Nope, looks like the accelerometer isn't going to work. Well, maybe it's not that it only works when the battery's above 90%, maybe it only works when it's above 98%, because I'm below 90% already. The BIOS in this, not a whole lot of options. Let me go ahead and show you all what happens when you boot up.